Janis Joplin had it all. Fame, unforgettable songs, the most iconic Porsche of the 70s, even flirtation from Jim Morrison himself. But in the end, none of it could save her. Today, we're going to relive the intense and enigmatic story of rock's first great woman, Janis Joplin, the cosmic witch who conquered the world, yet could never soothe her own wounds. How did it all happen? Let's begin. Janis Lynn Joplin was born on January 19, 1943, in Port Arthur, Texas, into an ordinary conservative family. Her mother was a homemaker and church singer, while her father was an engineer at a refinery. But even as a child, Janis was different. While obedience and old-fashioned values defined the world around her, she was listening to blues records and singing with a passion unusual for a girl her age. School, then, was never easy for her. Because of her looks and her unconventional attitude, Janis endured cruel mockery. On one occasion, her own classmates voted her the ugliest man on campus. That humiliation left deep scars that not only hurt her in the moment, but would stay with her throughout her career, as we will see later in the story. Even so, in the face of all that ridicule, Janis chose not to hide, and instead embraced her unique style more and more. At 19, when she entered the University of Texas to study art, she began forging her legend. She wore worn-out jeans to class, walked barefoot through the hallways, and always carried an auto harp under her arm, ready to sing whenever inspiration struck. She made such an impression that the student newspaper ran a story on her under an unforgettable headline: "She dares to be different." And yes, Janis dared. To be different. To be authentic. And so, while she was studying, she also sang in several folk cafes around Austin with a group of friends who called themselves the Waller Creek Boys. Janis was already showing the creative spark that defined her. She played guitar and auto harp, performing folk ballads and blues with a raw voice that left listeners stunned. But Texas soon became too small for her. That untamed spirit did not fit the Southern mold. In January 1963, she dropped out of college, grabbed a backpack, hitchhiked with a friend, and headed for San Francisco. She was not famous. She was not even a rising star yet. But for the first time, she felt free. In that vibrant city, among poets, hippie communes, and electric guitars, Janis would ignite a spark that one day would shake entire stages. In San Francisco, Janis found a world that seemed made for her. Bohemians, musicians, poets, and hippies all lived together in an atmosphere of total freedom. She threw herself into the beat and folk scene of the moment, singing blues in cafes, scribbling poetry on napkins, and breathing in a kind of independence she had never known back in Texas. But that freedom came at a price. By early 1965, at just 22 years old, Janis was already suffering the consequences of a fast life filled with excess. She had fallen into a dangerous spiral of substance dependence, and her body showed it. She weighed barely 40 kilos, and her moods were becoming increasingly erratic. Her friends, deeply worried, convinced her to make an unexpected decision: return to Port Arthur. Going back to the town that had hurt her so deeply was not easy, but she did it with a clear goal in mind: to rebuild herself. She went back to school, stayed away from the chaos, and for several months lived a quiet, almost domestic life. Even so, her fire had not gone out. In the middle of 1966, an old friend who managed several local bands called her with a tempting proposal. A new San Francisco band was looking for a singer. The group was called Big Brother and the Holding Company. Janis did not hesitate. And so, on June 4th, 1966, Janis stepped onto a San Francisco stage once again. It was at the legendary Avalon Ballroom. That night, the band shined through her voice, and the audience discovered a hurricane. Janis's emotional rawness, combined with Big Brother's electric psychedelia, sparked something that would very soon explode into success. San Francisco was welcoming her back. This time with lights and applause, but also with the old excesses and temptations that would soon come knocking again. But that part of the story lies ahead. In June 1967, beneath the California sun, and in front of a crowd still struggling to believe what they were witnessing, Janis Joplin became a legend. It happened at the Monterey Pop Festival, an event that would define an entire generation.
For Big Brother and the Holding Company.
There, among established names like Jimi Hendrix, The Who, and Otis Redding, appeared a young woman from Texas with an intense gaze and a voice like a storm. With Ball and Chain, a searing blues song by Big Mama Thornton, Janis unleashed an emotional force that electrified the audience. Her performance was so overwhelming that even Mama Cass, the singer of the Mamas and the Papas, was left stunned as she watched from the front row. That day, Janis went from being a promise within the San Francisco scene to becoming an essential figure in rock. That day, she stopped being an up-and-comer and became a symbol, a woman at the forefront of psychedelic rock, singing with her soul laid completely bare. The world had never seen anything quite like it. From that moment on, everything moved fast. On August 23, 1967, Big Brother and the Holding Company's debut album was released on mainstream records, gaining significant attention thanks to the impact of that unforgettable Monterey Pop Festival performance. But it was in 1968 that Janis truly reached worldwide fame and success with Cheap Thrills, her second album with Big Brother. The record was a full-blown statement of psychedelia, irreverence, and authenticity. Songs like Piece of My Heart, Summertime, and a live version of Ball and Chain captured Janis's wild essence, a mixture of fire, pain, and total surrender.
I think she's looking pretty fine to me now.
Cheap Thrills not only climbed to #1 on the Billboard charts, it also marked a turning point, cementing Janis as the first female rock star of her era. Her controversial, magnetic, impossible-to-ignore presence had everyone talking. One story captures it perfectly. At a party in Los Angeles, Jim Morrison tried to flirt with her in an aggressive and persistent way. Janis, fed up with him, smashed a bottle over his head and walked away without looking back. That was who she was. Direct, unfiltered, and afraid of no one, not even the Lizard King. That untamed spirit also showed in her style. She bought a second-hand Porsche 356 and had it painted in psychedelic colors, with flowers, stars, and cosmic symbols. The car would later become an icon of the counterculture. But that powerful presence and the constant spotlight the press placed on Janis did not take long to create tension and resentment within her band, just as we are about to see. By the end of 1968, Janis's growing fame and magnetic presence on stage had begun to overshadow the other members of the band, creating resentment and internal tension. While the media and the public were talking more and more about Janis Joplin, her bandmates felt increasingly pushed aside. At the same time, Janis herself was searching for a new musical direction. She wanted to move deeper into soul and rhythm and blues, leave behind the rawness of psychedelia, and take her career to a more professional level with musicians who could follow that vision. So, encouraged by her manager, Janis decided to leave the group. In December 1968, she played her final show with Big Brother. It was the end of one chapter, and the beginning of another. Janis no longer wanted to be just the girl in the band. She wanted to lead her own artistic destiny. That was how the Cosmic Blues Band was born, a lineup with horns and a sound much closer to the soul and rhythm and blues she loved so deeply. On August 17, 1969, in the rain and in the early hours of the morning, Janis took the stage at the Woodstock Festival. Dressed in velvet and feathers, with a voice that trembled but still burned, she performed Piece of My Heart, and other songs before nearly 400,000 souls.
You know, it's just music.
Even though she would later say it was not her best night. Nerves, long delays, and a little too much whiskey. Her mere presence at Woodstock sealed her place as a defining figure of the 1960s counterculture, confirming her as a living rock icon. But not everything would turn out the way she had hoped. A month later, on September 11th, 1969, her first album as a solo artist, I Got Dem Ol' Cosmic Blues Again Mama, was released. And the result was not what she had expected. The record divided critics. Although it was certified gold that same year, it did not come close to the success of Cheap Thrills. Still, it made one thing clear. Janis was continuing to evolve. Songs like Try, Just a Little Bit Harder, and Cosmic Blues revealed a more mature, introspective, and emotionally complex side of her. Some praised her vocal commitment and the new musical direction, but many critics argued that her band was not particularly strong, and that she should consider going back to her former group, Big Brother. That lukewarm reception left Janis deeply frustrated. She had poured her heart into that project, and feeling misunderstood hit her hard. On top of that came her personal battles, the exhaustion of constant touring, and a second relapse into alcohol and opioid use, an addiction that, once again, she could no longer hide. So, in December 1969, she canceled all of her commitments and decided to walk away from the band. Janis Joplin had already established herself as one of the greatest voices in rock history. But something inside her was beginning to crack. The price of success was about to become unbearable. Despite her success and the force she unleashed on stage, Janis still carried a deep sadness within her. The outcast girl from Port Arthur was still alive inside her. Neither fame nor the love of the public had managed to heal those old wounds. Deep down, she still felt alone. At the beginning of 1970, Janis traveled to Brazil in search of peace. There, she met David Niehaus, a young hippie schoolteacher who was traveling the world. They fell in love. For a few weeks, Janis enjoyed a simple life, far from the chaos. They walked hand in hand through Rio, they laughed, and she managed to stay sober. It was a brief moment of relief. Yet when she returned to the United States to resume her career, the old shadows began to creep back in. Janis fell once again into alcohol and drugs. When David later came to visit her, he found her injecting herself. The sight deeply shook him, and he decided to end the relationship right there. In spite of that blow, Janis gathered her strength and chose to keep going. In May 1970, she formed the Full Tilt Boogie Band, a younger group that felt more truly her own. And with them, she finally found the musical connection she had been chasing for so long. Her voice was at its peak, and on stage she still shone brightly. But inside, the wound remained open. That summer, she tried to stay busy, to stay focused. She joined the Festival Express tour, sharing stages and trains with the band and the Grateful Dead. They were days filled with music, laughter, and excess, but also with loneliness. In August, Janis carried out a deeply symbolic act. She paid to have a proper headstone placed on the grave of Bessie Smith, the great blues heroine of her childhood, who had lain in an unmarked grave for decades. It was her way of paying tribute to her, and perhaps, in some way, of trying to heal herself as well. I want you to remember this story about the headstone, because it will become a very meaningful detail to reflect on toward the end of Janis's story. Soon after, with remarkable courage, she returned to her hometown of Port Arthur to attend a high school reunion. She arrived dressed with pride, behind the wheel of her psychedelic Porsche, as if to say, "Here I am, and I made it." But the looks were the same as ever. People judged her and barely spoke to her. She left hurt, without the recognition she had longed for. Janis was trying to reconcile with her past, to close old wounds. But the wound ran far deeper than even she wanted to admit. Even so, Janis kept recording. In Los Angeles, alongside the Full Tilt Boogie Band and under the production of Paul Rothchild, she poured herself completely into her new album, Pearl. The sessions showed her at her very best, clean, focused, and powerful. Songs like Cry Baby and Me and Bobby McGee revealed her as vulnerable and fierce at the same time. But beneath all that energy, exhaustion was still beating underneath. She had reached the summit, yes, but her demons were still there. And though her voice sounded as intense as ever, the end was far closer than anyone imagined. In the early hours of October 4th, 1970, room 105 at the Landmark Motor Hotel fell silent. Janis Joplin did not show up for her recording session. Her manager went looking for her and found her dead. She was 27 years old. An overdose brought her story to an end just when she seemed to be rising again, with a new band, a promising album, and the faintest glimpse of peace on the horizon. Pearl, her posthumous album, was released just 3 months later. It became a farewell she never meant to make. The record was a success, but Janis was no longer there to celebrate it. Do you remember that Janis paid for Bessie Smith's headstone, the great blues heroine she had idolized since childhood? Well, fate had its own irony in store. Janis herself had no headstone. Years earlier, she had expressed her wish not to be buried. She wanted her ashes scattered in the ocean. And that is exactly what happened. Her remains were scattered from a plane over Stinson Beach and along the Marin County coast in California. She wanted no marble, no epitaph. She chose instead to become one with the sea. Another detail that invites reflection is this. Just days before Janis was found dead in her hotel room, her great love, David Nyhouse, missing her deeply, sent her a telegram from Brazil. It carried these words, "I love you, Mama, more than you know." Tragically, she never received it. It arrived too late. Janis never got to read it. And perhaps, just perhaps, if that message had reached her in time, this story might have ended differently. And while the echo of Janis Joplin was still reverberating through the 1970s, another band would soon be caught in a storm of conflict and tension after achieving incredible worldwide success. Join me to discover what really happened to Creedence Clearwater Revival. Click on the next video and I'll see you there, my rock-loving friend.